All right, everybody. Thank you so much for welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to our very first podcast of the season. And this is our very first one. And we thought we'd start it with a gentleman who will just knock your socks off. And we're going to recap the 38-minute video we did a while back. And he's in his Rolls Royce. There it is. You can see the roll double R on his on his on the headrest. And he's up in Portland, Oregon today. But I want to say to my dear guest and my dear friend Edmund, thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy schedule to join us with the live. Everybody's heard the video, and also that went out today. We also are doing a recap of what we talked about recently. So thank you so much for being with us this on our very first podcast. And you're kicking off this series for us. We're doing seven every week. We're going to be doing a live podcast. So thank you for being the first interview, sir.
Well, thank you for having me, Al. Appreciate you.
Hey man, great. Hey, tell everybody just to kind of regurgitate. We're going to recap what you said in those 38 minutes that we videoed and taped earlier. And now that we're going live and you're in the double R, your Rolls Royce up there smoking a nice stogie, I can tell. You got involved in network marketing at the ripe young age of 18 and start off at Amway for a little bit of time, popped around a couple different MLMs, and you didn't take anything real serious. And then one day you said, I always wanted to make $1 million per year and take it from there. How did that happen?
Yeah, always been a huge dreamer. Always wanted more. Always wanted to make $1 million a year. That was the magic number. Even though I'd never made 100 a year or 250. And you think you're taking the opportunities seriously. You think you're doing everything right. You're showing up to the back then it was phone calls. We didn't have Zoom. But you're showing up to the live meetings, you're attending, you're reading the books, and I just wasn't getting the results. Now, looking back, I realize it's because I wasn't actually fully committed and taking full accountability and practicing a certain amount of respect and humility and gratitude on a daily basis to be able to keep, propelling forward. And nobody becomes a millionaire in 6 months. So hopping from opportunity to opportunity does absolutely no good. But that's kind of what you do when you're young if you lack respect, humility, and gratitude, for the opportunity you're in.
Yeah, that's very powerful. You said that twice, humility twice and humbling twice, and that's what it takes to be humble and be coachable. I like that. You're in Oregon right now. I'm here at my home here in Mexico in Tulum to be exact, and I'm down here for about a week or so, enjoying myself because the time I put into network marketing, building this business, and also traditional business years ago. Now, you want to make $1 million a year, and you conquered that goal in 2021. You made more than $1 million that year. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, your first million doesn't always come the way you think it will. I remember talking to a lot of reps that just quit the business because it's too hard, it's not working, it's not going their way. I remember reps telling me, well, Edmund, I got to make 500,000 before I can make 1 million. And the way it worked out for me is I went from 181 my first year in solar, working my butt off, to 291 my second year in solar, literally working my butt off, to 2.6 million my third year in solar, hardly working. So it's it's interesting, it's a lot harder to make a quarter million a year than it is to make a quarter million a month. But if you won't do it for $500, you'll never do it for millions. You got to start and
Mm-hmm.
act and keep going based on where you want to go, which 2.6 is, it's an extra 1.6 than what I wanted. But
You'll take
but
it.
that's yeah, I'll take it. That's kind of how it works out, and then all the ridicule and all the sacrifice and all the discipline the first couple years, all the days of being told no or losing business partners, teammates, starting over. When you realize you were making more than $3,000 a day since the day you started, well, it kind of feels good. In that moment, though, you could have never dreamed it when you're trying to figure out how to come up with $49 for valet that you didn't plan, in the middle of nowhere. as you're building your business, trying to get things going, trying to recruit, trying to talk to people, trying to sell something. So emotional intelligence is huge. It doesn't matter how talented and skilled you are, your emotional intelligence will get in the way every single time. For young guys like me, there's a lot of recognition in network marketing, right? And as you climb your own little ladder of success and you hit a few ranks and you get that recognition, you got to stay humble. You can't let it get to your head, because you can kind of get to a point to where you feel like you're doing the business and you know everything, but you have nothing. And before you know it, you move on to an opportunity, to another opportunity, instead of doubling down in the valleys, no longer chasing peaks, taking full accountability for your life, for your business, and knowing that you're the one that's going to create your success. You're going to do it by obviously working with your mentors and leveraging their knowledge and mentorship. But you've got to plant your flag. You have to do it in one place. I think we talked about this last time, making that 5-year commitment so you no longer look left and look right, and using that 5-year commitment, that philosophy, that mentality, using that as your own like superpower so that you can go out there and get the work done. And it's kind of beautiful when you do that. There's a little piece to it, knowing that you're in the best opportunity because you're creating the best opportunity inside of an opportunity. And you've made that 5-year commitment no matter what, to where it's refreshing. You just became unrecruitable. You are now on a different level, and it all starts up here way before the money comes. Back to you, Al.
That's so true. That's what I was going to talk about. You said in the last video when we sat down, he said, plant your flag for 5 years and make a commitment. Folks, he just gave you a bonus right there. Plant your flag and make a 5-year commitment, excuse me. And he says, most people break their commitment. And that's where you fall apart. And like I said, it's up here. Before you can get there, this all starts here. And he says, don't blame any person or anything. Blame yourself. It's you. He says, use your superpower to stay focused. Wouldn't you agree to that, Miss Edmund?
Yeah, you take accountability, man. It's such a better outlook. You're gonna get what you're looking for. We're all living the life we want, and our life is a direct, reflection of what we've been doing, both on a spiritual level, on a health and fitness level, and on a financial level. And at the end of the day, if you want a reason to quit, you'll find it. You'll find it in your upline leadership. You'll find it in the company. You'll find it in the marketplace, in the economy, in the bad days. I'm telling you, it's a better idea to look for a reason to keep going. It's a better idea to just take full accountability and double down and
Mm-hmm.
actually put in the work. And that's really where you grow and you set yourself apart from the masses. And again, it starts up here, knowing that, those 10 words to live by. If it is to be, it's up to me. The work isn't done. You got to keep going and going and going and going and going. And if you make that 5-year commitment prior, and you revert to that and you remind yourself of that, then even though the deck is stacked against us, even though everyone's living in fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and the economy sucks, and everything is hard, right? That's how 99% of people see it. Well, all of a sudden you changed all that into your unfair advantage, into your superpower, where you're ready to get after it. You've got 5 years you're putting in no matter what. Doesn't matter what the situation is. And it just so happens that that formula helps you come out on the other side victorious.
Yeah. I love the idea that you got in, you were so content, and not I say content, you were so excited about the opportunity and so grateful to the person that got the company started. You bought him a Ferrari, you bought yourself the Rolls Royce Don. And, after time, you said, I'm done there. I'm going to go build mine. And you traded the Don in, and you're on the golf course. Tell us, you're on the golf course with a friend of yours having a Cuban cigar, and you saw. Tell that story a little bit that you told before, and you saw a car that you wanted. You're muted, sir. You're muted, Edmund.
Yeah, so there's a supercar rally that I love. It's called Gold Rush Rally, and I did it for the first time in 2020. It was a dream since 2011. And so I bought a Rolls Royce Dawn to do it. And then the following year, since I already lived my dream, I surprised my business partner and CEO with a Ferrari 488, the Spider. which means convertible. And then the following year, I was thinking that I would do it in a Rolls Royce Cullinan, because I saw one and it was perfect. And so I was on the golf course. My buddy showed it to me, and I bought it kind of spur of the moment. Booked a PJ, flew into Arizona, and they delivered it on the tarmac. Turned out it was a little too slow, and I ended up taking the Rolls Royce Dawn again. And then the year after that, I bought a Aston Martin DBS Superleggera, which is a fun car. But all that stuff is fun. You got to get it out of your system when you're young. And for me, I'm motivated by I was motivated by materialistic things, watches, cars, and it pushed me to work harder. And so I would say don't apologize, and don't be embarrassed about that if shiny objects excite you, because for a while it's what allowed me to work really really hard. And they say put your own mask on before putting someone else's on. I mean, since then I've been able to do incredible things for friends and family, and getting to a point to where you can afford I mean, this was a $477,000 car that I'm in. Obviously, it's depreciated over time. Um, it's probably only worth 300 now. But getting to a point to where you can treat yourself to those things, it means you've done a little bit. And to me, leadership is serving others, right? It's adding value to the marketplace. You get paid in a direct reflection to the value that you add to the marketplace. And you can only see it that way if you're ready to take accountability, and get paid what you're worth, right? We're a special breed choosing this profession where we really only eat what we kill. We get paid what we're worth based on what we produce. And
Hmm.
and there's got to be some growth for that. So the more you grow, the more your income grows. If you're excited about that, and if you want to get paid what you're worth, you're in the absolute best profession.
Yes, thank you so much. And for those that don't know, when he said PJ, it meant private jets. I know a lot of people like PJ. You talking about PJs? No, 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 no. Private jets. That's abbreviation.
Yeah.
You get to that.
That
Start.
that's the
Go ahead.
only that's the only way they'll deliver the rolls on the tarmac. They can't do that if you're flying commercial. So yeah, we landed into Arizona, treated my boy. It was his 35th birthday, and I got him a two-bedroom penthouse at the W. Um, Took him out to celebrate, pop some bottles. So even though I got the car for 477, when you add all that up, it was probably like 530 or so. But amazing memories, that I will cherish and never forget. And life is a culmination of experiences, and you get to choose what those look like. And the greater the goal, the greater the sacrifice. Staying down for me, when I had those lonely nights and long days on the road, in the field, in the trenches, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, with prospects, with homeowners. Well, I wasn't acting based on my current results. I was acting based on where I wanted to go. You got to work like you're making a couple 100,000 a month way before you actually start making a couple 100,000 a month. But Napoleon Hill says the man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. And I hold on to that. The man who does more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. And you just got to ask yourself, do you want to put in the work now and work like a millionaire now, and potentially work really hard for nothing, for free, for $500, for $1,000, for whatever? I never looked at my paycheck on Friday. I knew there was nothing there anyway. I knew I still needed to put in my 5 years. I knew the work wasn't done. And eventually you look up and you're like, holy smokes, I'm making 50,000 a week. I'm making 100,000 on the last week of the month. And that's kind of when I let off the gas pedal and started enjoying life a little bit, and treating myself
Absolutely.
to the finer things.
Absolutely. I want people to also understand you come from a humble beginnings. Let's talk about the humble beginnings you started and when you started and, having a few dollars in your pocket, going to the hotel overnight and didn't have enough money. Talk about that a little bit because I want people to understand you worked hard and that's what people don't understand. You're hearing the blessings of the business. You're hearing the blessings from my side. You're hearing from his side, but you don't see us when we first started. You don't see the time and effort.
Yeah.
You don't see the notes. You don't hear the pain and all the things. We're success. Yeah, it wasn't overnight success. In my case, it was about a 10, 12 year overnight success. Go ahead, talk about that a little bit, Edmund.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing happens overnight, and whenever you start a new venture, you're starting all over again. I think that's hard for most people because they feel like they should already be somewhere or they're entitled, and that's how I always was. And my third month in the business, I am completely out of money. I'm at a Best Western Plus. I find out at like 1:30 in the morning that there's bed bugs. I have to change rooms. There's still bed bugs. I end up booking a room in a different hotel. I needed to get out of there. Just so happens that hotel, it was like an hour away next to my early morning meeting. So I went there strategically, but there's a $49 valet fee and I didn't factor it in and I didn't have the money for it. Called my parents. They're like, we told you it wouldn't work. Why don't you come home? They wanted me to go to school and become a doctor, like what they do. They make 150,000 a year with their practice. And entrepreneurship is all about problem solving and overcoming
Mhm.
obstacles. And there's always a way if you're looking for it. And if you want to get past $50 problems, you got to solve them. It's all about problem solving, and it's kind of a game. And the people I look up to have $50 million problems, right? They're juggling different things and real estate and buildings, and the economy is down and interest rates are up, and everyone's always constantly struggling, whether they are in a mansion or in a little apartment. But you pick your struggles, baby. You decide what it's gonna be. It's not easy to drive a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. It's not. I just had to fill this baby up at the gas station, but it's also not easy to be the person next to me in the Honda Civic. And we're the same. We're both you know, human. We've just made completely different decisions. I started this business with a negative $63 bank account. I started this business 2 months late on my mortgage. I was renting out my house so I wouldn't have to pay the mortgage. And I was sleeping on my friend's couch in low income housing, but I was taking the rent money to survive. I wasn't even paying the mortgage. And so you can always say enough is enough and decide to do something about it. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and put in the work. You are not, your past. You are not anything other than what you do daily. What you do daily dictates what you are. And successful people are not impressed by your watch or the car you drive. Successful people are impressed by the decisions you make. Successful people are impressed by your work ethic. Successful people are impressed if you are able to show up and keep showing up. And if you have a certain level of commitment and consistency, and if you can sustain that over time, because commitment and consistency over time beats talent and skill. And with that, Al, I'm let's wrap it up. I'm about to be on a boat with a man who's worth about $400 million, and everyone's kind of waiting for me to hop on. So
All right, my friend. Hey, Edmund, thank you so much, buddy. Have a good night. Appreciate you so much, and be safe up there in Oregon, folks. I want to
stay
thank you all
blessed.
for
Wishing
God
everyone
bless.
a great rest of the evening, and understand that if you believe you're playing for it, you're playing for it. They'll all talk about you when you're not in the room, but nobody, your unfair advantage is that 5 year commitment. People overestimate what's possible when they dream. A lot of people stop dreaming and will tell you it's impossible, but if you're willing to give it 5 years, you can accomplish just about anything. See you
Thank you,
guys.
buddy. Appreciate it. Be safe out in the yacht tonight, man. 35 years old, quarter million. I've seen his American Express bills. We talked about that on the. I've seen a couple hundred $250,000 he goes through on his Amex every month. But here again, he had to start somewhere. You hear he started from humble beginnings. No matter where you're at, folks. No matter where you're at, you can get there if you choose to and stay committed. You got to stay committed. And he says, use your superpower. Very important. And everybody has superpower. The question is, are you willing to get off the couch and go to work to make your dreams real? One of mine's, I'm here in my place in Mexico, paid for it, cash, don't owe a dime on it. What about you and your goals? Forget Al Thomas, forget Edmund. What's yours? Are you working feverishly for what you want? And you know what? He's so true. As you get there to accomplish higher and higher, you work less and less and get paid more and more. What about you? Hey, listen, we want to thank you right now for our first podcast. We'll be back next week with another podcast in our series. This is the first podcast out of the first series, which you have seven. And then we'll start our second podcast and so on and so on. But we want to thank you for joining the first podcast tonight. Share this out with family and friends. We appreciate you today. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. Have a wonderful day.